Good evening. My name is Reverend Debbie Miller, and I live in the state of Illinois. And I want to wish all of you a happy new year and hope that things are going well for you. I am a just recently retired hospital chaplain and pastoral care counselor. And so I'm happy to be sharing with you on some didactics for Chaplain Nato. And tonight we're going to be talking about passive aggressive behavior. And I know that in all cultures, people can tend toward passive aggressive behavior. So, we're going to talk about what that is. And having lived in the Philippines for 7 years, 2000 to around 2007, I know that Filipinos really value smooth relationships. Diba? And so passive aggressive behavior is sometimes conscious and sometimes subconscious. And we have to learn how to be honest with our feelings and thoughts in a respectful way. Communication is a skill that takes constant practice. I'm not going to tell you my age, but I have been working on communication techniques and skills all of my life. So it's just like you think you learn patience, and then there's always the realization I need more patience. And of course, patience is a fruit of the Spirit, but it takes a lot of work and discipline and also awareness, which is a big, big factor. Um, so let's define passive aggressive behavior. And remember that communication is a circuit. There's a messenger, a sender, and a receiver. And then the receiver sends back to the messenger, the opposite person. And so we are always communicating in all different situations with different relationships. But passive aggressive behavior is defined as behavior that is seemingly not harmful or offensive or accidental or neutral, but that indirectly, that word indirectly displays an unconscious, usually unconscious, aggressive motive. Well, that's a pretty strong definition. Let me give you another definition by a psychologist, a licensed clinical psychologist by the name of Amy Doramus. And she says passive aggressive behavior is an attempt to control or manipulate someone without being honest about how you feel or what you want. But I would add to those two definitions, but oftentimes our behavior is a learned behavior, and we react or respond in different ways to different people, personality, situation, and conflict is inevitable. It's part of life. It's part of human relationships. And so um, the motive to manipulate or control can be there, but often we will see that it is something that we do because we don't want to confront, and various other reasons. So, anyway, there are some examples that I want to share with you of passive aggressive behavior. Dr. Daramus, the clinical psychologist that I just read her definition, these are the list of examples. Many times we have hidden expectations. So, not telling someone what you want, but being angry or frustrated or offended when you don't get it. So, hidden expectations. The second one is saying one thing, but really meaning another. So, for example, saying something nice but in a sarcastic tone of voice, or saying something mean about someone and just pretending it's a joke. So, I don't know in your culture if people do that, but they do it here in the States. The third one is giving someone the silent treatment. So, ignoring someone, refusing to answer their calls, ghosting, we call it, not responding to their text, excluding them from events, saying hello to everyone but them, avoiding eye contact with them, or pretending not to hear them. So, that is the silent treatment. So that's the third one, hidden expectations, saying one thing but meaning another, giving someone the silent treatment. The fourth one is expressing your feelings non-verbally. And you have learned that there's verbal communication and nonverbal, and actually I believe 70% of our communication is nonverbal, with our body language, our gestures, our facial expressions. So expressing your feelings non-verbally would be, for example, smirking, or a smirk on your face, or rolling your eyes while speaking to someone, or expressing your displeasure by pouting or sighing loudly, or just huffing, like, oh, something like that. The fifth one is embarrassing someone. I don't know, I don't remember Filipinos doing this when I lived there, but asking someone uncomfortable questions in front of others in order to put them on the spot, revealing embarrassing things about them, like gossiping about them to others when they can hear it, they're close by, or telling others about issues you have with them instead of going one-on-one to discuss them directly. And that's a hard one, because I know myself that I've caught myself doing that, especially in the midst of church conflict. So it is easier to do than we think it is. The sixth one, I believe, is working against someone. So pretending to support someone, but secretly hoping that they will fail, or that things don't go their way, or actively undermining or sabotaging them. And so that's a pretty serious one, passive aggressive behavior. Then the next one would be procrastinating, taking a long time to do something for someone that they've asked you to do, pretending that you forgot it, that you had to do it, or just intentionally keeping someone waiting. So It's a form of passive aggressive when a person knows that that's why they're doing it, for the purpose that they're doing it. The other one is giving gifts with our ulterior motives. So maybe a person is going to manipulate in a way that they'll give a gift to change someone's behavior or attitude, hoping that the gift will do that. Um, and that's kind of a hard one to define, because I know when we were in the Philippines, gift giving is a very special attribute of Filipinos. And so I don't know if this one would apply as much there. And the last one is giving backhanded compliments. Like, um, it's really not a compliment, but because it's a veiled insult. Like, you look so nice today, but I didn't even recognize you. Or, that haircut is lovely. It makes your nose look smaller, you know. So I don't know if Filipinos really would say something like that, but that's called a backhanded compliment. So I want to also give you some more examples of passive aggressive behavior. Someone seems angry, but when you ask them what's bothering them, they say, I'm fine. Nothing is bothering me, when something clearly is bothering them. I've already talked about the silent treatment, the procrastinating treatment, or sarcastic response. Sarcasm is a form of frustration or anger. People can complain about situations with other people that bother them. They might be talking to someone in the office, or at school, or wherever, and they'll be saying something, that an attitude or behavior that bothers them, when they're really trying to subtly tell that person that there is an attitude or behavior that they have that bothers them. So, like a hint, you're giving a hint, but not really totally being direct or honest. So, in personal settings, a passive aggressive person might repeatedly make excuses to avoid certain people as a way of expressing their dislike or their anger towards those individuals. So, avoidance. So, all of that said, we have to understand that it is important that we become more self-aware and really take the time and space to understand what is underneath our words, our honest feelings, and why we're feeling that way, and why we're behaving the way we are, if we want to change and improve. And of course, passive aggressive behavior really damages relationships. The level or the extent of passive aggressive behavior can be very destructive. And they even have a passive aggressive personality disorder, although it's not in the DSM-5 manual of psychology behavior, but that would be in a situation where the person is just mostly, you know, half of the time or more being very passive aggressive. And it usually goes along with some other mental health disorders or health issues. So it's important. It's important to learn about and to identify, in ourselves and in others. So as we go through this, think about what kind of communicator are you? And on this website that Chaplain Nato sent me called Very Well Mind, I couldn't find, they said that they have a free quiz on communication styles. There was a section on the website that under you pull down and you see quizzes, and it's just every test or personality that you could imagine, but I didn't see one specifically to identify, passive aggressive or am I passive aggressive. So anyway, Pastor Chaplain Nato can give you the website that I am taking this material from, and it is called Very Well Mind. It's a wonderful website. I really, really like it. Okay, so just basically saying that passive aggressive behavior comes out of not being honest with our communication, not being honest with our feelings toward another person that we're in relationship with. And so the frustration, the anger, the aggression, if you will, is very covert, very indirect. But a person that works with people a lot will begin to really recognize that, whether it's church, school, workplace, families, marriage relationships, you'll be able to really identify it. And a lot of times it happens, especially in close relationships, when there's conflict. And as I said earlier, conflict is inevitable in life because conflict is differences of opinion. And conflict occurs with unmet expectations, unmet needs, along with difference of opinion, disagreeing with others, which it's okay to disagree, to agree to disagree, and everybody's not going to have the same opinion, but we have to learn the communication styles that are most healthy. A fun fact while I'm talking is that the term passive aggressive was first used in a clinical setting during World War II to describe soldiers who refused to obey officers' commands. It was given the name passive aggressive. So isn't that interesting during World War II? I'm going to compare the characteristics of passive aggressive people by listing some passive aggressive characteristics against people who are more direct. So indirect versus direct. Okay, passive aggressive people expect others to know what they want. Like, you know me, you should know what I want, you should know what I'm trying to say, versus people that are more direct and they'll simply ask for what they want. I want this, so and so. Another characteristic is getting upset when things don't go that person's way. So passive aggressive behavior trait sets in and they get upset, but they don't talk about it and work through it. So people who are more direct Well, recognize that or try to accept that things may not go the way that they want. And they uh, probably just recognize, okay, I must be frustrated, but then step back and think logically, it's okay if I don't get what I want in this situation. A third one is avoiding direct confrontation at all cost. Avoiding direct confrontation at all cost. And then the direct style of communication would be telling someone why you're upset and owning those feelings. For example, I am upset that it is below freezing here where I live, below the freezing Fahrenheit. So below zero. So I'm saying I am upset, I'm frustrated that it is so cold. But now that is a statement. I'm not telling anybody that I'm in conflict with. But I just was, that came to my mind because we're having a very, very cold week here. So basically, passive aggressive people do not communicate openly, and they want to control others, and that might be very conscious, but conscientiously or conscious, but sometimes it may be subconscious, hidden, that they don't see it. Versus someone who's communicating honestly, respectfully, but assertively. And then a lot of times with passive aggressive people, they will see others that they are in conflict with as their opponents, and want inside to fight against or struggle against that person, but not in an open, overt way. So when the conflict feels like it's out of control, versus someone who's direct will recognize that something is beyond their control, and they won't try to control or manipulate. They'll try to let go. Passive aggressive people many times are, out of their frustration, will become very strong-willed and stubborn, and versus someone who can really empathize with others and don't see others as their opponent. And then this one is a tough one, refusing to consider that a person might be wrong. Looking at ourselves to say, well, maybe I'm not right in this situation. Maybe I am wrong. And so, but a passive aggressive person style is to not consider themselves as being wrong. And then, of course, in a more mature communicating style that's open, is respecting others' opinions and perspectives, and values. So being more open-minded. Now, I want to talk about so hopefully these characteristics that I've given you will kind of begin to alert you to checking yourself and being aware when you're around other people or in your CPE group. You know, these interpersonal behavior styles of communicating and relating, even non-verbally. So what are some of the causes of passive aggression? According to Dr. Doremus, this licensed clinical psychologist, there are four. Number one is cultural factors. Um, and I think this is uh, true in your culture because of the value of smooth relationships. In some cultures, direct confrontation is considered rude and unacceptable. So the passive aggressive approach is more acceptable to express difficult emotions. And so that's hard to go up against culture and family culture. So this is a learning curve, and it takes a lot of intention and practice. The second cause might be childhood experiences. Some children grow up in families where arguing or confronting with authority figures is discouraged or sometimes even dangerous. So they tend to avoid confrontation as adults. But those feelings of frustration and anger can turn into resentment that when it's pushed down so much. And anger, after a while, that's pushed down can turn into depression. So it's all a big learning curve, and it's hard. I'm not saying it's easy. Then number three is the fear of rejection. And we all fear rejection and by others. And so, especially depending on the more important relationships in your life. But being passive aggressive um, can be a defense mechanism that comes out of insecurity and a fear of rejection. So therefore a person can just hint at something and not ask directly for what they want or need. And if they just hint at it or give clues, then the possible rejection, or being ignored hurts a lot less. So, fear of rejection. And then the fourth one is unrealistic expectations. Um, People feel that someone who really knows them and loves them would know what they want. So, they don't want to have to spoil the romance or spoil the relationship by talking about it. So, a lot of people uh, need things and want things in relationships, but they are afraid to ask for that or to work things out in conflict. Okay, I think this Amy Daramus has a very good quote that I'd like to give you. Life is a lot less high drama when you simply ask for what you want and say what you mean. Life is a lot less high drama when you simply ask for what you want and say what you mean. So, being honest. And I'm going to end with another list of ways to be less passive aggressive. Number one is to build self awareness, paying attention to your own thoughts, words, thoughts before you say words, and behaviors. So reflect on that. And then ask for what you want and work on your communication skills. It's a learning skill to learn how to communicate openly, honestly, and respectfully to the other person and assertively. And you can take classes on communication. There's a lot of resources on the internet now about interpersonal communication and not just speaking, but into people as a speaker, but communicating in relationships. And then learning to express anger in healthy ways. Um, and that is a whole nother topic. Learning to express anger in healthy ways and not destructive ways. Um, Using anger to create something positive. Not letting anger go unhandled. Um, Empathize with others, seeing others, instead of seeing others as opponents, try to see from their perspective and God's perspective and learn empathy, empathizing with them, letting things go beyond our control. Be thoughtful about what you should and shouldn't control. Ask yourself why you feel so strongly about things that you need to control. And the art of letting go is a lifelong journey and lesson. And then build a healthy support system. So you've probably heard it's not healthy to be around toxic people, and to surround yourself with positive, healthy people as much as possible. And so that is what I have for tonight. And I look forward to reading your reflections. And as always, if you want to message me about something directly, I would, I will commit to interacting with you. And so I wish all of you a blessed learning experience in this unit of CPE. And God bless your leader and teacher, Nato, Chaplain Nato. So, all right, goodbye until next time.